This channel supports the use of ADBLOCK.
As you step off the boat in Far Harbor, you look through the fog and you notice this gigantic structure where Longfellow's cabin once was. And as you approach the structure, you see that it is an absolute mess of supports and exterior structures and crazy looking bridges and all sorts of other weird shit. Welcome everybody. Now, this is one of my nonsense creations that I've made in Longfellow's cabin, and as you can see, there are a lot of cool little tricks that we can use to create structures that look like these. So I will be showcasing you some of my building techniques and slightly more advanced techniques that you can try out in your settlement. So there are exterior bridges and diagonal supports and using vault supports and snapping and all that kind of cool stuff. So let's go to a slightly more open space for a building test site, and we'll take a look at how we can do some of the things that you see over here. Alright, good morning, and we are in Taffington Boathouse as our little test build site, and I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I use to build what I build in Fallout 4. Just a quick note that there are no mods and no cheats used in some of these building techniques. You can basically do all of these clipping and whatever building techniques in vanilla Fallout 4. So no mods required, no console commands required. I'm just going to show you some of the techniques that I use to build diagonal structures, some bridge designs, and also how to move pieces around to places that they would normally not be able to snap. So let's begin by the one that everybody wants to know, how to build diagonal supports in Fallout 4. Now, there have been a couple of videos already that have demonstrated different methods to do this. Some using ball tracks, some using wooden stairs and floor mats to cover up the stairs. So I'm not going to go through those. I'm going to show you how I achieve some of those, because I'm a little bit of a stickler for things looking like they fit properly, and also a bit of a stickler for things to snap properly rather than just randomly floating it in midair and pretending like it joins. Okay, so the first way that you can achieve a diagonal building structure is very, very simple. All right, I use something like a warehouse foundation piece like this. All right, now you will notice that I use a wooden stairs, and the wooden shack stairs actually snap pretty well to this foundational piece like that. All right, now then what I can do is I can go back to the warehouse, add a wall over here, and you will notice that I can stack another foundation on the top of it, and the wood kind of clips into this. The reason for this is because of something that I like to call clipping priority, which, because warehouses naturally have the ability for the volume of it at the bottom to be disregarded for it to sink into the floor, it allows for things to stick into it without causing too much problem. Then of course, if you add more floors sticking on the outside of that, you will find that it creates a very basic and simple diagonal support. Now, there are a couple of problems still with this very basic version. Number one, these aren't actually touching anything. If you look on the inside, because the wooden floors are hollow underneath, they don't actually touch. They look okay from a distance, but they don't actually touch. Now, the other problem with these is that if this is a wall, for instance, this technique no longer works, because the walls don't actually want to snap where the wooden stairs are. So while this is a cool little basic technique to use, there are other alternatives that you can try. The one that I like to use a lot is the one that uses the scaffolding stairs. So let me show you a little bit of how that works. So let me start again with the same thing. Imagine that, and then I have a little bit of a wall here, and then I have a little bit of a floor here, and then I have another floor kind of like sticking out over that, like this. Now, if I wanted to build a diagonal support, it would be relatively simple. All I would need to do is I would need to connect something like over here, and then I would use scaffolding pieces like that. All right, I temporarily move this wall away, or if I wanted to save its position so that it could snap, let me just like put another piece there. So in the future, I can snap a floor back to that. get with my scaffolding stairs. They will snap to that, and then put the floor back where it belonged. Now, as you can see, we've run into a little bit of a problem. The scaffolding pieces do fine over here, but the floor piece doesn't actually want to go back in. That's because these scaffolding stairs are kind of sticking right into the floor. Certain floor pieces may kind of force it to work, right? So if you use, let's say, one of these shack floors like that, maybe a metal floor from concrete, maybe it might fit. There we go. All right, because again, the metal floor has a property where it allows things to clip into it a little bit easier. So this is another one of the possibilities, using a different floor type to have this clip to that. Now, what if you didn't want to use a different floor type? This metal structure would no longer fit into that, because if I used an ordinary floor, yeah, this doesn't fit. And also, as you can see, just a little bit, it has the weird Fallout 4 graphical glitch where this thing starts to blink in and out because it's clipping at the perfect same height as the floor. So if you don't want that, well, what are you gonna do? Let me show you a cool little trick of what I call the floor lowering or hiring technique for concrete. So here's one of the cool things that you learn very quickly about concrete structures. The concrete floor and the wall snap naturally like this. The walls will its natural snapping position is like that on the outside. And the floors, technically, the floor heights snap to the bottom. They don't snap to the top. Because if you take a double floor and snap it there, as you can see, the floor snaps to, the roof will snap to the top, but the floor will not snap to the top of the wall. It kind of is higher than the wall. This is, however, strangely not true for both the diagonal piece and the round piece. Now, the round piece for concrete, the floor actually snaps to that, but it also snaps to the top. So with this, what we can do is we can manipulate the pieces to sink lower by one step. So for instance, if I put a floor here, I take this concrete floor and now I snap it to the top. So what was the snap to the top is now snapping to the bottom. Then I add another another wall underneath that, and then I remove the top one, and suddenly, watch this piece, it goes down by one step. And the original floor height would have been something like, well, let me see if I can get it to snap back at its original height. Maybe if I use the double. Yeah, so the original floor height would have been up here, but we've managed to raise it, lower it down by one. So with that trick in mind, for instance, I can lower these scaffolding pieces so that they don't stick into the floor anymore. All right, and the way that I would do this is concrete wall like that, concrete floor like that. All right, concrete wall. Now I need to get it to snap to the round wall piece like this. Okay, and then I need to lower the floor by one piece. So all I need to do is stick this there, move this up, change to another wall piece, snap it to the bottom, remove the top one, and now I can snap this down there. And so now this snaps to the bottom. So we've shifted everything by one step down. Now take the scaffolding floor, stairs, snap, and now, wouldn't you know it, the warehouse floor will now fit right over that piece, assuming I can get it to snap. I don't know why it won't snap, but sometimes it's just a little bit finicky. Yep, there we go. Because there's a wall in the way, right? So now, as you can see, it attaches to the top and it attaches to the bottom, and it can be done in front of a wall. So you can do this with any wall, any floor, and it will still snap. this is the way in which I use scaffolding pieces to create diagonal supports. Now, you can do this also if you don't want to use foundation walls. You can do this with any kind of wall, because at the end of the day, it will clip through. So this wall will fit there and it will stick its feet into that. Okay? Now, there's another way in which you can do this, and this is one of my favorites, and this is using vault supports. So, as you can see, if I built a vault support like that, and I used an atrium floor like this, I can create that same diagonal structure. All right, so same technique. Let me get this off. Same technique. All I got to do is get a warehouse floor, stick it down like that, scaffolding floor, stick it on like that, remove that, put the scaffolding stairs in place, and we have a diagonal support. Now, the same problem persists. I can put an atrium floor here, and as you can see, it's got the graphical glitch, and this one is kind of sitting right on top of this support. Okay, so I can do the same concrete trick again if I wanted to. I can do the exact same concrete trick where I take a floor. Sorry, you've got to start with the scaffolding floor first. Okay, so put that there, get rid of that, get the concrete floor, snap it to that, remove that, put the wall on, get the rounded wall on, right? Get the rounded floor to snap to the top, move this there, right, to that one, okay? Get another rounded wall underneath, see this now to the bottom, and this piece goes down by 1. All right, then go back to your scaffolding piece, stick that there, remove that, put the stairs in, and now if I put my atrium floor back on, you will see that it sticks into the atrium and it sticks into the side of that little piece there, and it looks like a cool little diagonal support. It's not floating in midair or anything, it actually is connected. Now, there is another way in which you can reduce the floor heights by 1. It's not only concrete that can achieve this, but vault structures can as well. Because if I use the vault double support here, for instance, you will find that the atrium pieces snap to 2 different heights, like that. So if, for instance, I had an existing vault atrium floor and I wanted to attach a piece that was lower than that, all right, all I had to do is I take a atrium's double support like this, snap it to the upper half, see the 2 different heights, snap it to the upper half, and then I can attach another vault atrium piece at this other height underneath. As you can see, there are 2 different heights. All right, so then I can do basically the same trick. So for instance, if I had a support like that, and then I had an atrium piece like this, if I wanted to lower the piece down for my scaffolding pieces to snap to, all I need to do is get a double support, stick it to the upper half, and then get another atrium piece, stick it to the lower half like that, okay? And now I can basically take a warehouse floor or any other half floor, stick it on like that, and then do the same scaffolding trick all over again. So put the stairs on, all right, and then that will now fit underneath that, all right, and it will go into there. Now you will notice that the little support here is now suddenly floating in midair. So instead of using a double support, I can then use a single support twice. All right, so I'll put 1 here, and now there needs to be a second one underneath there, but supports usually snap to the top of other supports, not the bottom. So I'll just need to put a double one here next to it, and that will snap to that. And now you can see its little footsies are stuck into the vault supports. And that's another way in which you can lower the scaffolding by one step, so you don't have that weird graphical glitch on the top, and have it still look like it's connected. Now, there is one other version of this support that I can show you in the way that it works, and it'll show you a little bit of a trick of how you can clip vault structures together. So if, for instance, I was creating something like a vault room, right? If I was creating using the vault structures to create a room, you will find that vault room structures like this, let's say a cafeteria, the support pieces snap to the bottom of the rooms like that, right? So for instance, even if I had let's say I had let's go back to the support here, a single support. So I use that single support little design again, right? Instead of using double supports, because I want the footsies to stick in, right? Now, the way in which you would do this, if I wanted to attach, so the warehouse piece, the warehouse floor piece, will not snap to that support beam anymore. It will snap to this one, for instance, but with the cafeteria on top of it, it doesn't want to snap anymore. So what you really need to do is go back to your vault structure. You need to, extend your cafeteria room in one direction or another. Get rid of this one in the middle, all right? And then go back to your warehouse or barn or whatever, and now this will snap here. Okay, now once this snaps there, back to scaffolding, boom, get rid of that. Staircase, stick in, hook, and then obviously the cafeteria piece will be able to fit back in there. All right, and then if you snap another one and take a look at it, you have that, right? It's sitting nicely on top of this diagonal, and that goes in to step on this little footsies right here. Now, if you don't want it to kind of just sit on that little angle there, and you want it to stick in, there's a little bit of a trick that you can do. So once again, because atrium pieces actually snap to the tops of the supports and also the bottoms of the supports like that. So you can actually raise this to go in there. Now, this little trick can be compounded if you want to create vault support beams of different heights. So if you just happen to have a weird height that doesn't quite fit with the height of these, you can do this trick over and over and over again. I'll use a double support, stick it to this atrium piece at the lower connection, move this up, and then move this up. Do the same thing, move this up, and then move this up, move this up, move this up. So you can essentially create vault support structures of any height you would like by clipping the supports to inside of themselves. All right, so that's my couple of different techniques that I use to create diagonal support structures. You can always lower the floor height by 1 by using either concrete or vault structures. Now, the vault structures are a little bit thicker in terms of the height difference. So for instance, the atrium heights are stacking on top one another like that, right? But if you compare that to the concrete floors, let's see if I can get these to snap to each other. So if I snap that to there, if I get the single concrete floor like that, right, and then do my same trick like that, all right, and then wall like that, and then get a round wall, connect it to the top, right, move this all the way up there, get another round wall to the bottom. It will snap, trust me, it will. And move this down. All right, so as you can see, the new height for the concrete is not quite the same as the new height for the atrium floor heights. So you can really get custom with the heights that you want. If you want the pieces to kind of stick in a little bit more in the top or the bottom, you want to lower it by a little bit, you can use a combination of these two tricks for you to move around, and that allows you to put basically scaffolding stairs under any structure that you want and stick that into the wall. So I can get it underneath this floor if I wanted to. I can have it underneath the vault floor if I wanted to. I can have it under any floor at all. All right. So, and the scaffolding stairs, they kind of have a high clipping priority, means they clip a little bit easier into other things, right? So for instance, if I just created like a wooden shack wall or a double foundation like that, all right? And if I created a wall over here, and then I created a floor again over here, right? Now, if I can just attach a scaffolding piece there, it will attach, right? The scaffolding pieces are very friendly in terms of clipping into pieces. So now the floors will never snap to a double size, all right? So you need a shorter floor like this for the scaffolding floor to snap to, all right? Like that and like that. And then once again, just add the stairs and it will snap relatively easily into this. Now this one here is not snapping because probably the floor foundation or the wall is preventing it from snapping. Yeah, it was the wall. All right, now most likely the wall can be snapped back into place and you've avoided the problem. All right, so sometimes the problem with scaffolding stairs is it detects stuff that's in front of it here, all right, and kind of refuses to snap if there's stuff in the way over here. All right, so I'll show you what I mean by demonstrating to you another design thing that I like to do. So as you saw in my intro, I have these little chunky bridge designs that I like to do. So for instance, if I had a little foundation floor here, all right, and I made a little bridge to another foundation floor over here. And this bridge, as you can see, it looks really thin, it looks really flimsy. So I use my scaffolding stairs to create like a diamond pattern around it to give it a little bit more girth and make it look a little bit more amazing. So the way in which I do that is I take a scaffolding floor, extend it out from the side, one space away like that. Then I go to the stairs, which will snap to this. All right, it will snap to this as well, but it won't snap to the bottom here. All right, now this might not even be high enough at the moment. I might have to make it a little bit higher, but either way, you'll see that it won't actually want to snap to that. But the reason is because this floor piece is in the way. If I remove this floor piece, as you can see, now suddenly the piece snaps together, and then this one will be able to snap to there to complete the diamond. All right, now obviously I've built this a little bit too low, so it sinks in the floor, but it connects at the bottom as well. All right, and then all you need to do is just to put this warehouse floor piece back in. Yes. So the scaffolding stairs detects that this floor piece is there and doesn't allow it to be put there. But once it is put there, the floor piece doesn't care that the scaffolding is there. And so it will fit right back in. And then just to make it look a little bit more sturdy, I sometimes add these warehouse posts to the sides because they snap, they clip right into the stairs and they make them look a little bit chunky. So just repeat this along this entire length and you've got a kind of a cool, thick bridge design. All right. Now, it doesn't have to be only this design because you can create a bunch of other designs if you want. All right. So I can just repeat this process all the way over there and then, yeah, do the scaffolding stairs over there and there and there and there. And they will snap to the top. Like the scaffolding stairs don't detect stuff that's underneath them for some strange reason, but they will detect stuff that is on top of them, as if to kind of prevent stuff from being, you know, on the walking path of the stairs so that you always are able to walk on top of the stairs. So you're going to have to get rid of these floor pieces. Keep the side here because that allows this to snap at this particular angle. All right. And then otherwise, most of the time it will want to snap like that. Right? So the floor piece on the other side kind of encourages it to snap at this angle. So then I just go in and in and in, snap that there, And let me at least get out of here first, and then snap that there. Come on, it will snap, trust me. Sometimes it just doesn't want to. Sometimes it's the angle in which you're looking at it. So it can be, see, there we go. All right, and then just build that back in. Now you can also have this lower. So for instance, I can have the bridge lower down like that. So then the diamond is a lot higher. So you got a lot more like headroom if that's the design that you want. All right, you can have a lot more headroom and it still looks kind of cool. Like I said, it's just a way to give your bridges a little bit more girth so that they're not like so thin and so flimsy. So you can do that. Another thing that you can do is I can get rid of these two pieces, get rid of these two pieces, right? I'll put a scaffolding floor over here, right? Like that. Put another one over there, like that. And then I can use the half scaffolding stairs to snap to that, like that, and then like that. All right. And then I'll get a warehouse floor again. I'll put back my warehouse pillars, and then I can get a floor and I can snap it inside there. And that creates like this kind of Superman diamond shape that you can have as well as a little bit of a design to your bridges. So that's one of the other tricks that I use to create more interesting designs for exterior structures. I think they look kind of cool. All right, so that's just another like design thing that I like to do, and you can mess around with that. You can create different patterns. So scaffolding stairs will kind of snap to each other to create all sorts of patterns. So you can even create like a hexagon if you wanted to. If you didn't want the diamond poking out the bottom, you can have this as the floor, half stairs going there, half, and then create like a little hexagon if you want to. All right. Now another thing that you can do with scaffolding stairs is you can actually make them into X shapes. Right, so that one will snap to there like this. Okay, now technically the scaffolding piece will also snap in this direction. All right, all it really needs is a floor piece to encourage it to snap. All right, so for instance, if I put the floor piece there and I go back to the stairs, you will find that it snaps there. And then if I remove that, now this also snaps there. And you can create like X-shaped supports as well for your structures. So if you wanted like a cross beam, this is one of the ways in which you can do it. So scaffolding is very friendly with clipping. So yeah, try it out and use it on your structures. All right. So I've got a couple more tricks that I want to show you so if you were just looking at diagonal supports, yeah, please feel free. But I've got a couple more tricks that I want to show you. One of the tricks that I like to play with is concrete. So concrete is one of the pieces that have a very high clipping priority because even the wall pieces, as you can see, can sink into the floor. So they generally will clip very well. So like I said again, the natural clipping position for concrete is on the outside of the floors, like that. However, if you didn't want this overhang, you can just have a concrete piece kind of snap into this piece. And there you go. It kind of works out really nicely. All right, and then the floor pieces can then connect to the outsides. It can connect. But as you can see, the floor piece here won't snap to this front piece anymore because this one is in the way. All right, now you can encourage it to snap by adding pieces around it, right? So that it gives it something else to snap onto. But what if you didn't have room to build something like this to add this in? Right? And you wanted to just attach a foundation piece to that, for instance. How would you do it, right? The floors, as you can see, they don't fit. One of the ways in which you can do this is you can actually just move the wall up, have it float in midair, and that saves the snapping position for the wall. And then if you build the floor, then now suddenly the wall will snap to the wall on the top and will sink into there. All right? The reason for this is that the floors detect that the wall pieces are there, but the wall pieces don't care what's underneath because of their clipping priority at the bottom. The bottoms of the floor have an ability to clip into structures. So that's one way in which you can build interior concrete walls, right? Just kind of move them in by one step or have them float up a little bit like this. And then you can build that, and then you can build your concrete walls, and they will be interior walls like that. All right, so that's one little trick with concrete. Now, another fun little thing that I like to do with concrete because of the way the heights work is, for instance, if I created a wall like this, all right, what I can do, one of the things that I really enjoy doing, and you can try this out in your designs as well, is I like to create a wall, a floor that is using the height of the warehouse half wall. So stick that there, and then stick that there, right? And as you can see, again, this floor doesn't want to snap into that, but the wall will snap into the floor. So all I have to do is get this concrete to be moved out of the way, but save its position. Then I can put the floor here, or I can use a concrete floor, whichever. I kind of like the concrete floor for this aesthetic. I'll show you why, but I'll put the concrete floor snapped into that like this, right? Let's snap that there. Okay, I can get rid of this temporarily maybe, right? And then put the floor back down into that. And as I said, the floor piece will kind of snap into the floor. The wall will snap into the floor, but the floor won't snap into the wall. All right, so as you can see, yeah, see, doesn't want to snap anymore. But once I put the floors there, the wall will snap into it just fine. And it kind of just adds this little like extra metal band in the middle of the concrete floor. So it looks perfectly fine. Okay, and what this allows you to do is it allows you to kind of have a raised floor. So I can add like a little staircase that goes up there like that. And that way I can go up and I have a little bit of like a ledge that I can look over, but it's almost perfectly the height of the character. So if I exit out, as you can see, yeah, it's about chest height. And it's a really nice way to create, like if you want castle walls or something like that, you can create these half wall heights that will give you the look of an existing wall, but something that you can actually look over. So this is one of my favorite things to do with concrete, and it looks kind of nice and it works. So just remember, floors will not clip into the walls, but the walls will always clip into the floors. All right, so yeah, you can mess around with this as much as you want. Okay, so now another thing that I really like to do, I may have accidentally scrapped one of the floors here. Yeah, I didn't actually want to do that, but I have scrapped everything mod on right now, so I may have accidentally done that. Doesn't matter, I don't care anyways. Okay, so another thing that you can do for concrete is concrete allows you to move floor pieces all over the place. So for instance, if I had a double floor like that, normally this piece will either attach to this side or this side. Now there's a way that you can get it to snap to the middle, right? One of the ways is if you use stair pieces, not these stairs, unfortunately, but if you use something like warehouse stairs, they will snap to the middle of the piece, right? Then all you need to do is just attach a floor like that, all right? And then lower it down by half a wall height because that's the height of the stairs. All right, let's see if I can get a snap underneath. Bring this down, and now you have the piece that snaps to the middle. But what if I wanted to shift it over even not just by the middle or two sides? So this is 3 positions that it can snap to, right? There's an easier way to do this, and all you have to do is just use concrete walls. So I can add a wall here. A wall will snap to a wall. So then I can get rid of that and I can move it 1 over. And now you've got a custom kind of, snapping position that you can do with concrete. All right, and I can do it again. And the grid for concrete is that it's an 8 by 8. So if you think of the smallest width as 1, this is 8 by 8. So this is a 4 by 4. So moving it 2 over puts it right in the middle, moving it 2 more puts it right at the end. And that's just one of the things that you can do with moving concrete around. Okay, now the last little trick that I want to show you is using concrete to build an octagonal building. Now, normally, if you want to build a structure, you tend to end up with just squares, meaning you can build in 4 directions, right? You can build this way, out this way, you can build out this way, you can build out this way, and you can build out this way. Now, what if I wanted to build out in a diagonal angle? I could use the concrete triangular floors like this, but how do you get a floor piece to snap to this piece? It doesn't actually want to snap in that angle, but it will, however, snap to the door frame. So if I add a door frame to the diagonal there, this floor piece will snap right into the diagonal. So then, for instance, I can have a ordinary door piece like that, and I can quickly build. So now I can build a structure over here that is this angle, right? And I can also build one on the diagonal like that at a 45-degree angle, right? Now, the problem is that if I removed this wall here, right? If I remove the wall here, there's a gap. But guess what? The gap is one wall length, right? So I can use the same concrete trick to just move this. I can move it one step forward using concrete. And this will snap, and suddenly, boom, the gap is gone. Now, what if I wanted to attach a double floor to the middle like that? Well, remember what we learned about lengths? So you just need to shift this concrete floor 2 steps away, like that, and all of a sudden, this is in the middle. And I can snap other floor pieces to this as well, right? I can use like a warehouse floor if I wanted to, and that snaps into the middle. So then you can build out like this, and you have 45-degree angle builds that you want to. All right, so that's how I create like octagonal structures. So the big structure that you saw in my intro uses this technique to have like arms sticking out from 8 different directions. Now, however, this is just using the concrete built-in triangular piece that you want. You can also use this technique to build 45-degree angle bends in your structure. So for instance, if I did this, right? If I had a floor here like that, okay, and then I added a triangle like this, and if I wanted to add a foundation floor like somewhere over there, I'd use the same technique. Go with the corner door frame, line that up, snap, right? Get this small piece, snap, use a concrete wall to move it in by 1 piece. All right, and then I can add another floor piece like that there, all right, and or I can use a different type of floor, you know, and so on and so on, or I can go back to a foundation piece if I want to, concrete foundation piece like that, all right, and then yeah, so now I've got a corner that I can attach, and you might notice that this is a little bit off, all right, a little bit off, but it still kind of works. So for instance, if I use a warehouse wall, when I snap it together, there isn't really a gap on this side, and you'll see that it kind of fits really well. All right, so that's one way in which you can make a 45-degree angle bend. Now, it won't line up on this side very well either, right? It will have this little, you know, weird little thing, but 3 wide for 1 diagonal kind of works out, kind of. So you can again do the same thing with the wall here. So snap that there, snap that there, snap that there, snap that there, and suddenly I've got a little bit of a diagonal. Now, if I want to get rid of this, for instance, if I wanted the wall on this side, it's also possible. And then I would have this 45-degree angle bend like that. All right, like I said, it's not perfect because of the way the wall heights work, but there isn't really much of a gap for you to contend with. So you can do 2 diagonals with 6 pieces and it will kind of fit, but not really. All right. However, there is a method to do something I call a true octagon, and I discovered this on stream. All right. So for instance, if I attach this here, all right, if I just put this piece there and I attach this diagonal here, how in the world do I get something to snap directly to corner to corner? It's possible, and I'll show you how. Because interestingly enough, with the way that concrete lengths are designed, I can get this little piece. We know that this is now lined up with the center of this triangle. So if I moved it 2 blocks over, like this, right? And I moved it 1 block back, like this. This corner of this square piece is now right in the middle of this triangle. You might wonder, well, how does that help with joining it there? Because if you just attach more pieces there, it doesn't work anymore. But we're not actually trying to line it up with that. We're trying to line it up here, because if I take away this triangle now and I put a square piece here, boom, there's your perfect 45-degree angle that corner to corner kind of joins, right? So now that moves like the connection there. If I wanted to connect the piece over here, for instance, the way in which I would do that is I would transform this floor piece into an L shape. All right, so I got rid of that. So transform this floor piece into an L shape temporarily, like that. All right, put the triangle in here. All right, and then do the exact same trick again. All right, stick that there, floor piece there, get rid of it, and then use this wall piece, move it 2 over to the side. All right, and then 1 over towards the triangle. All right, and now I get rid of this piece, and when I put the piece back, boom, there it is. All right, now you might be thinking, how am I going to put the triangle back in there now? It actually doesn't want to snap initially. So you're going to have to remove this piece, save your space by adding 1 more piece there. Now snap it there, and for some reason, now it snaps. So then when I add this back, you will have a perfect 45-degree angle. And you can repeat the step over and over again, and you will create a perfect octagon. Now, what's the practical application of doing this? I actually have no damn idea. It just looks pretty. And you'll notice that the walls will actually snap both on the outside and the inside. All right, so for instance, well, let me get rid of that. If I use a warehouse floor, like this, and like this, all right, the walls will snap on the outer side, like this, facing that way, okay? But they will also snap on the other direction as well. So if I move this floor here, like this, and I get rid of that, this will snap on the inside. And when I do that floor again here, this will snap there as well. So you can create both directions of wall snap, because yeah, the walls will clip at the corners like that because they tend to fit like that anyway, right? So it works out. So you can create 45-degree angles using the concrete pieces. All right, so that's about all of the tricks that I know how to do. So you remember the floor lowering heights, you can use that to build diagonal supports, and then you can also build octagons. And with those couple of techniques, you can create some slightly more interesting, structures in Fallout 4. So everything I do here is legitimate. They're all legitimate snaps. There are no mods, no cheats, no clip cheats that you can do. So you can do all of this in console as well. it just takes a little bit of patience and finagling, especially with the concrete structures. So once you kind of get a hang of clipping priority, you know which pieces tend to clip into other pieces. It makes the building process that much easier. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope you learned something, and yeah, mess around with this and build some of this cool stuff in your settlement. And I'll see you next time for the final video, my long video essay talking about the building mechanics in Fallout 4. So stick around for that, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.